In this video, I'm going to try to prove as quickly as possible that the Nephilim are in fact the Cainites and Kenites, that these are the same, they have the same root. And the first place we'll go is Genesis 4, verse 6. And the Lord Hashem said to Cain, "Why are you distressed, and why is your face fallen?" And here's the Hebrew for fallen, and you'll see that it has the same Hebrew root as the Nephilim. And here's Cain over here. But just remember this root. And I'm going to try to prove that these are in fact the Kenites, as you might see translated, but it also has the same root as Cain. So it's in Hebrew, this would be ha-cainim. So it's pronounced caini or cainim. And these are the Cainites or Kenites, mentioned here in 1 Chronicles 2:55. Jethro, for instance, was a Kenite or Cainite. These would be the Cainite, those of the Cain, the root of Cain, that would still be alive at that time. And one clue is that the Cainites in Hebrew has the same value, 215, as the Nephilim. And here it is in Genesis 6:4. So the Cainites, the Nephilim. And here it is, the Nephilim. And it's already known that the Nephilim just refers to the Cainite people, those from the genealogy of Cain, who would have been alive at the time. This is from the Israelite, a really old newspaper article from 1865, the American Israelite, as it was otherwise known. And here's the editor and head of the theological department, Isaac M. Wise, Cincinnati, Friday, January 6th, 1865. I'll read a little bit of this. The Nephilim are not the sons of Seth, that is admitted. They are not the offspring of the sons of the Elohim and the daughters of Adam. We proved this above. They are not fallen angels. Although their name, the fallen ones, points to fallen beings, it points to no fallen angels. But the Bible narrates that Cain was a fallen man who killed his brother and was cursed by the Lord for his crime. It is more natural to think of Cain than of angels. To suppose with some of the doctors that the author of Genesis forgot in the 6th chapter that he wrote in the 1st, God created only one, Adam and Eve, and introduces a new race of Nephilim, is certainly unfair and unlikely. On the other hand, however, the name Nephilim reminds of the fallen Cain. And then it goes on. There is this one source in the Shulchan Aruch as well. Those who have the practice to remove fetuses' foreskin with a reed or rock or reed. Only including this because here we have Nephilim as fetuses, or sometimes like stillborn or abortion non-viable fetus, as Nephilim here. And here's with a reed, and it's Caneh or Cana, which is connected to Jethro, the Cainite. So we'll see one of his names is Caini. Jethro has 7 names, and here they are listed. One of them is Caini, and it says here he had the name Caini because he was zealous, Caini, or Caneh, for heaven, and he acquired Cana torah. So he was zealous for heaven, and he acquired torah. Jethro the Cainite. As we saw, it's connected to the word Nephilim there. Okay, and here from the same article, this explains the hatred existing between Israel and Amalek. Again, this combat is noticed to have been continued by Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites, and Israelites against the same race down to the days of King David. Which is interesting because these three nations here are related to the Cainites, the Kenites, and the Cadmonites in Genesis 15:19. So the Cainites, the Cainite, Kenizite, and Cadmonite, this is according to Rashi. These tribes are identical to the Edomites, the Moabites, and the Ammonites. So even Rashi knows that these are related. And then from the same article, that these Nephilim were called by 7 names, and then they list them here. Nephilim is one of the 7 names that they have, which is interesting because Jethro, as we saw earlier, had 7 names, and he was a Cainite. So the Nephilim also have 7 names. Another connection. So if you take Genesis 6:4, the one about the Cainites, as we see it here, the Nephilim, and punch it in and look for verses that have the same gematria value, the same number value. There are very few in the entire Tanakh, but here are 2 that are right next to each other. So you could scan the entire Tanakh, the entire Hebrew Bible, and they're all little sections like this, portions, but to have a match is very rare, and here they are right next to each other in Ezekiel 22. So let's check that out. So it says Ben Adam here, son of Adam, or the house of Israel, or mortal, the house of Israel has become dross to me. They are all copper, tin, iron, and lead, but in a crucible or furnace, the dross shall turn into silver. So it mentions all these metals, which is very interesting because we know that the Cainites, Caini here, a large group of nomadic clans engaged chiefly in metalworking. And it says here, tinsmith, craftsman, metalsmith. So they are metal workers, and that verse just happens to be a match for these 2. Let's see what the other one has to say. A few verses down. I will gather you and blow upon you the fire of my fury, and you shall be melted in it. They're talking about the furnace as metals. Here's something kind of spooky as well. If you take the Nephilim, which we set as the value 215, there it is in Genesis 6:4. Here it is in Numbers 13:33. But if you look closely, here it is in red, but here it is spelled a little differently. There's an extra yud right here. See, compare to over here to here, there's 2 yuds in here, only 1 here. So there's 2 different spellings, which means this has a different value. This value would be 225 compared to 215. But so check this out. If you just take the one from the spelling from Genesis 6:4, and apply the atbash to the text of the Tanakh, so the text of the Hebrew Bible, it will modify the Tanakh text. So this just means anytime there would be an aleph in the Bible, it would change it to a tav. So the first letter would become the last letter. And then when there's a bait, it would change it to a shin, so it would become the second to last letter, and on and on and on. So it actually flips the Hebrew alphabet around and changes the values. So if you apply this and then search for gematria, let's go down. It changes the value, and we'll go down and see in Numbers 13:33, right there, that this, without the extra yud, now has the same value as the Nephilim with the extra yud. And that's with flipping the the entire alphabet around backwards of the text of the Torah. Very interesting. That is shocking. Anyway, if you have any interest in this, I hope that I've made this as quick as possible. There is more, but these are the key points. If you have any interest, please feel free to get a hold of me anytime. Thank you.